You should also know that many crime addicts have lived and gone. Does the name Pablo Escobar ring a bell to you? I'm sure he does. He's a famous Colombian drug lord and narco-terrorist who was the founder and sole leader of the Medellín cartel. He did not commit just 1, 2, or 3 crimes. He had a lot of crimes in his portfolio. Are you now wondering about his crimes? That's why we're here today. In this video, we will be showing you crimes of the notorious Pablo Escobar. Pablo Emilio Escobar Gaviria was born on December 1, 1949, at Rionegro, Colombia. He died on December 2, 1993. Escobar was the talk of the town during the years he lived. He was fearless and bloody. The notorious Colombian criminal was the head of the Medellín cartel and was known to be the world's most powerful drug trafficker in the 1980s and early 90s. Escobar stopped at nothing in pursuit of wealth, fame, and power. He took the lives of a lot of people without seemingly caring about the consequences they could bring. He gained a lot of enemies on his way to becoming one of the biggest drug kingpins of all time. He didn't bother about how the victims or their relatives would feel. Yeah, that's really who he was. His facts keep telling the story of the chaos he spread throughout Colombia and beyond. Now, let's take a look at the crimes he committed. Escobar gave his hitmen bonuses for killing police officers. Yes, this man in question did this. Colombia has been facing lots of unpalatable things. The more unstable the country grew, the easier it made business for Pablo Escobar. In fact, Escobar destabilized the police system as much as he possibly could. This notorious criminal had to offer his hitmen around $650 for every single police officer they killed. You can imagine how inhumane this could be. By the last months of 1993, it was recorded that an estimated 550 officers had lost their lives to this series of bounties from this notorious criminal. Jaime Ramirez Gomez, who was the head of Colombia's narcotics unit, was shot dead while driving with his family. This happened just the day before he was scheduled to testify against Escobar. Escobar knew what he was doing, and he didn't end there. In fact, he gained fame for the role he played during the largest cocaine bust in history in 1984. He really was the man behind it. Another major thing he did was to give one of his hitmen the power to arrange over 3,000 deaths personally. When this happened, it shocked a whole lot of people back then. Jean Jairo Velázquez, popularly known as Popeye, was one of Escobar's most loyal and ruthless men. After leaving the police academy in Colombia, he became affiliated with the notorious criminal. With this claim, he had taken the lives of almost 300 and had arranged the deaths of up to 3,000 others. He did not express a bit of remorse for any of them. During his arrest, Popeye had established a fearsome reputation for using different types of frightful techniques. What's more, he even killed his girlfriend just within minutes when he discovered that she was talking with the State Drug Enforcement Administration. Someone who could kill his girlfriend right on the spot. Who could he not kill? Popeye was arrested and served 22 years in a Colombian prison before walking free. He was again arrested for extortion in May 2018. Escobar was also responsible for killing about 4,000 people, including an estimated 200 judges and 1,000 police, journalists, and government officials. In the 1980s, Escobar's Medellín cartel was also responsible for about 80% of the cocaine that was sent to the United States. He didn't see how big and secure the country could be, and he still managed to achieve this. The notorious Escobar also blew up a civilian airliner. This is crazy. Although people used to call Escobar a patron, he still considered the civilian populace to be of little or no significance. Apparently, there is no better example of this than when men planted a bomb on Avianca Flight 203 in 1989. Roberto Ramos, one of Escobar's hitmen, also supported him in this operation. He was a long-term associate of Pablo Escobar, and he worked with him during his early smuggling days. He aided Escobar in the bombing of the Avianca flight. This day was so bloody, as the bombing killed 107 people. Even when Escobar declared war on the authorities, poison allowed him to be stopped by policemen at a roadblock, only to get out of the car and gun them down with a submachine gun. The sudden explosion killed all 107 passengers. He planted the bomb because he thought rivals or informants might be on board. He did this without even thinking of all the innocent ones in the airline. What can be worse than this? Well, his plan did backfire, as the explosion killed 2 American citizens. This got the George Bush administration provoked, and they, because of this act, went after Escobar. All right, let's tell you more. Escobar and his associates often set off explosions to eliminate rivals in the business and keep the police force occupied. When the federal government started taking higher action against the cartels, the extraditable declared war. Months after, Colombia and the U.S. announced new laws allowing for extradition as hundreds of bombs exploded. In fact, over 100 explosions were set off between September and December alone, and this occurrence cost thousands of innocent Colombians their lives due to the Medellín cartel's bombs. Escobar also revealed to have smuggled cocaine into plane tires. This got him and his team a whole lot of money. Depending on how much product pilots flew, they could earn as much as $500,000 daily. You can imagine the fortune this would bring for Escobar. Remember, the extradition laws could cost him and his team a lot. So in an attempt to change the extradition laws, Pablo Escobar offered to pay Colombia's debt an estimated amount of $10 billion. As if all these were not enough, in 1989, he also killed a presidential candidate. Yes, his name was Luis Carlos Galán. This man promised to take on the Colombian drug cartels. He also promised to approve an extradition treaty with the United States. In fact, he was deemed to win the election due to the indicated polls and expected to win with over 60% of the vote. Unfortunately, gunmen assassinated Galán during a campaign rally in Suacha under the direction of Escobar's hitman, Popeye. Another crime he committed was allegedly paying armed guerrillas to destroy evidence. Colombia couldn't have enough of this notorious criminal. While Colombian cities endured all manners of cartel clashes, it was revealed that several guerrilla armies also ravaged the country. M19, which was one of these groups, attacked the Colombian Palace of Justice and took the lives of 98 people, including nearly half of the Colombian Supreme Court. This unpalatable situation happened in 1985. This group also destroyed large portions of the building. They also destroyed evidence against Escobar and the Medellín cartel. This may appear funny, but it's indeed a serious thing to happen to Escobar. You could imagine his own son denouncing him. With this, you would know this notorious criminal had done a lot of evil deeds. After Escobar's death, his wife and children had to flee the country and eventually resettled in Argentina. Juan Pablo, his son, changed his name to Sebastian Marroquin. He did this to distance himself from the family legacy. Although Juan acknowledges his father's love, he does not dispute the fact that his dad was a notorious person. And that's it for today on the crimes of Pablo Escobar.